Hello team, welcome to Sequential Difference, where we take an array and we need to return an array of the same length, except that the values are the difference between the current index and the next index. So 2 minus 1 is 1, 4 minus 2 is 2, 7 minus 4 is 3, and 7 minus 7 is 0. Or as they say it, the last index, because there's nothing after the last index, it should just return 0, okay? But I look at it like 7 minus 7, and you'll see why in a second here, okay? Again, all these end in 0, just like this. We can get it done. Map is perfect for this, okay? So over here, we're going to get rid of all that and do dot map, if I can type it right. Inside of here, we have that number. I sure hope it's a number. We aren't doing any testing today, and they are only supplying numbers, so pretty safe. But in production code, maybe we want to test for that. Maybe, okay? Index and the array. Are we concerned that this array is here? Not really, okay? It works itself out, and you'll see why in a second here. So down here, we return something. What do we return? Well, we go to that array, we get the index, and we add 1. And then we subtract that from the current number, okay? The problem with this is that what happens when we get to the end, right? We haven't covered the last index because the last index plus 1 is undefined. So right here, we could do a ternary or a conditional or something like that, but I like to go, if it is undefined, right, then return num. And this, I put an equal sign. This should be a minus. Sorry, there we go. But if you're reading this, now we get whatever that value is, okay? And we subtract it from whatever the current number is. If this is undefined, there's a pretty good assumption here that we're on the last index, at which point we should just return whatever that last index value is, which is num, minus num equals 0, okay? And it works, okay? Right here, I would strongly encourage you to break this out into its own function, okay? So just taking it a step further for today, we have, I didn't give this a name. Let's give it a name like get next diff, okay? Brilliant. We have all these values, get rid of the arrow because that's not useful to us. Brilliant. And this is where array doesn't really affect us anymore, okay? Because we can do that. I mean, it didn't really affect us anyway, but still, okay? Return array.map, and we toss in get next diff, and it all should still work. There was an underline there, but it went away. It was just clearing the system. So it all still works, but now we have flexibility. And what I mean by that is, check this out, okay? Let's set up a new index. Let's set it to 1, okay? 1 being the second element in that array, okay? And then let's set up a value. Let's call it second, okay? And right here, we're going to get next diff, okay? And we pass in a number. It can be this as an example. Doesn't matter, okay? We can pass in anything here. And then, of course, our index, which is index, and our array, which is array, okay? This doesn't do anything because the map is returning a new object, right? We're returning a new value. The map is returning a new object. Neither of these is actually interfering with one another, okay? So very safe, which means that now we can go new array equals array.width, right? Array.width is like splice, but it's not in place. It will actually make a copy and then change that and return that new copy, okay? So array.width, we have the, again, the index and the value that we're doing, okay? So now we are changing that index to that value, which means that now we could console log that just like this, new array. And if we are looking over here, right now it's clean, but if I run it, yes, it passes. And here is our output, right? It's, what do we have? I button mashed, so 796 minus 4. Sorry, 4 minus 796 is negative 472. So it all just works. And none of this interferes with our original code. I only did this as an example to prove that this is a more flexible solution. bringing it out, making its own function, right? We can test that individually. We can do stuff with it, and we can use it to individually change the values in our array if we had to, okay? Again, none of that matters, so here we are, okay? This is my solution for today. Did you find another one? Did you find something that you hate about this or you love about this? Hit me up in the comments, let me know. Otherwise, today this has been Sequential Difference, and I will see you tomorrow.